Now Saudi Prince Mohammed bin Salman attends his official meetings, not in religious clothes, but in modern clothes. Saudi Arabia has made many such changes in its country, by seeing which, the neighboring Muslim countries are now infuriated. In present time, Saudi is working on its city development project rapidly, and if a mosque comes in the pathway of the future project, then the Saudi government gives direct permission to demolish that mosque, without making any changes inside the project. And in the same way, Saudi has destroyed more than 600 historical places and mosques in his country. The Saudi government removed one such historical and oldest tomb, and changed into toilet. According to the British Independent, Prophet Muhammad's first wife Khadija's mosque was demolished, and converted into a public toilet. Not only this, Saudi, who once neglected women's rights, is now sponsoring the Women's World Cup, and where at one time girls had to compulsory wear hijab to sit in the exam hall, but nowadays this law has also been completely rejected by the Saudi government. Now girls will not to be forced to go to the exam hall wearing hijab. In Saudi Arabia the rate of women employment has crossed 60% within 2 years. On the existing religious places Saudi has made many types of rules that must be compulsorily followed by all the local people. Now the bunch of loudspeakers are not allowed over the mosque in the country. Its use has been limited to 4. Along with this, the broadcasting of namaz inside the mosques and taking voluntary iktihar donations have also been banned. Not only this, where earlier the driving of women was completely illegal in the country, but now it become legal for Saudi women to drive all across the country. And all these incredible changes are done by Prince Mohammed bin Salman, who changed many laws as soon as they came into rule. But what is the reason behind all these changes? The Saudi Arabia once which was the epicenter of Islam, but now moving towards the democracy. Why? To understand the exact reality behind these changes, we have to dive deeper into the history of Saudi relation with other countries. Everyone knows that the enmity between the Israel and Islamic countries has a history of the decades long. In 1973, Egypt and Syria suddenly attacked on Israel in the area of Sinai and Golan Heights, and took the entire land there in his possession. But within a few days Israel retaliated to the attack and took back its lost land. And in this work, USA and Europe had secretly helped the Israeli army in arms and ammunition by air. But Saudi was angry about Israel's support by USA. And then in 1973, Saudi Arabia used OPEC as a political tool for the first time to reply to the US nation. OPEC is an organization of petroleum exporting countries, which was established to coordinate petroleum policies. In 1973, Arab cut off 5% oil production through OPEC, and created a huge crisis in Western countries. After oil production cut off, the prices of oil suddenly increased from $2 to $11 per barrel. Its effect on petroleum-dependent countries was deep and long-lasting. Through OPEC, it was also conveyed to the West that, to what extent the Western countries are dependent on the oil of the Middle East. West tried to play their trump card in many ways, but Saudi's only oil card was outweighing on them. Saudi indirectly dominated US and Europe by managing oil prices through OPEC, after which exponential growth started in Saudi's economy. Then the income coming from oil export was used extensively in radicalization by Saudi, in which increasing funding in Pakistan, supporting Al Haramani Foundation despite opposition from US etc. etc. And not only that, Saudi Trend Organization has involvement in 9/11 attack also, and later he was also held responsible for this attack. 15 of the people who hijacked the plane in the attack were citizens of Saudi Arabia, and Osama bin Laden was also a member of one of the wealthiest families in Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is seen as a preservative, absolutely monarchy and an Islamic country. But according to experts, Saudi is now choosing the democratic side to remove the taboo of an opposing ideology, and blames imposed on Saudi Arabia by Western countries. But there was a time when Saudi Arabia used to threaten America on the basis of oil, but now the whole world is shifting towards non-renewable sources, due to which the dependence of oil has reduced to a great extent in every corner of the world. And at this time the oil price in Saudi has fallen to such an extent that they had to sell shares worth $25 billion of their most profitable company, Saudi Arabian Oil Corporation. If seen, the COVID pandemic and Russia-Ukraine war forced Saudi to think about its oil dependency. Before COVID, countries like China, India, and South Korea were the biggest oil importers of Saudi, but now they too have reduced their oil intake from Saudi to a great extent. Because the reason behind is that, after the world's sanctions were imposed on Russia at the time of war, to save their economy, playing mind games, Russia started to export oil on the cheapest price to these three big countries. This attractive Russia offer leads to reduced in oil purchase from Saudi Arab. Prince Mohammed bin Salman has understood this very well that their economy cannot remain dependent on oil for long. They have learned that oil is not making money anymore. That's why Saudi wants to invest into the future profitable businesses. To keep its economy stable, Saudi Arabia is looking for many other alternative ways, and the most important of them is tourism. Saudi Arabia is tying up with many countries in this process of coming out of its conservative past and becoming broad-minded.